What's the most disrespectful thing a guest ever did in your home? I had a friend that stole my grandpa's pain medication while my friend was living with us rent-free. We're no longer friends. When I was 5, my family lived in Indiana for a couple years. We traveled a lot because of my dad's occupation, so every now and then when we'd go as a family we would need someone to house sit. Naturally, when you move a lot it's hard to have people you know really well to watch over everything you own. I didn't know the people my parents asked to watch the house. I was only 5. But all I remember was when we got home and opened the door. The best way to describe it was it looked like we got robbed. Drawers in the kitchen were open and dishes were everywhere. Couch cushions were soiled. The bathroom. Oh god, the bathroom. But the thing I remember the most was some of my toys were broken. My brand new N64 had Play-Doh jammed in it. And my favorite picture of me and my dad that I kept by my bed was covered in Sharpie. Never saw that family again. But the memory still makes me rage to this day. Cut and took a piece of the birthday cake I was preparing. It wasn't even frosted yet. I had my back turned, helping other guests at the birthday party. And he f***ing cut the cake. I was having a small social gathering in my house. Few good friends and a couple of their friends. I knew we'd all end up drunk, so I put my expensive guitar in its hard case and hid it in my cupboard. Anyway, a while later one of my friend's drunk ass friends somehow discovers it. Runs in the living room swinging it about, pretending to be a rock star of sorts, knocking the headstock and other parts of the body off the wall. Unintentionally, of course. He was just a drunken asshole. But still. The next day I realized there was dents. Missing chips of paint and scratches all over it. Never saw him again after that. Common, never saw him again after that. Because you killed him. Right? Haha, got a few. All from my mother-in-law. 1. At my older daughter's birthday party, told all the guests that our younger daughter was not my husband's child. And was the product of an affair. I've never cheated. 2. Stole clothes from my older daughter's closet. Same party. Stole from her. On her birthday. During her party. 3. After one of my sections she stole my Percocets. When I confronted her she said that her headache was far worse than my little scratch and she needed more. She stole 7 of them. 4. Denies that our older daughter is autistic. Doesn't follow house rules. Repeatedly aggravating my daughter to the point of self-harm. 5. When allowed to visit has the balls to ask why we never let her visit. She stole clothes from an autistic girl on her birthday. My ex invited a friend of his to hang out for a few days. Well, a few days turned into over a week. During that time, the friend left used tissues on every surface. It was disgusting. He'd also leave empty beer bottles wherever he finished the beer. I found bottles in the shower, behind the toilet, on windowsills. I finally had enough and threw him out late one night after he tried to take the remote away from me because what I wanted to watch was stupid. I don't even remember what I was watching. But it's my house. My TV. And I paid for the damn cable. GTFO. My sister-in-law decided to use my house as a pit stop once when we were away for a weekend. F-ked her boyfriend, or someone else, on our guest bed. Didn't clean the sheets. Visible crusted cum on the sheets. And I think on my couch in the basement as well, condoms, unopened, laying all around the room like presents for my kids to find. Put her takeout in a dresser drawer. So like a bonus, when her omelette went rancid a day or two later and we opened the door, we got a special smelly gift. What kind of savage gets an omelette for takeout? Someone stole my wife's camera at a party. It was a big party. But we knew all of the guests. One of our friends is a thief. Losing the camera hurt less than finding out we couldn't trust our friends. Edit. Turns out we here at Reddit have some effing untrustworthy friends and relatives. Damn. My younger cousin stole my phone at Easter. Not like haha I'm taking your phone away and playing games on it and won't give it back, but like I know you took it. Give it back or we'll call the police, and he denied having it, so we called the police. He also stole my aunt's wallet. And this was actually at her house. We don't invite him to family functions anymore. I was throwing a get well soon party for a friend who developed testicular cancer. And a drunk guest thought it would be hilarious to punch a guy with testicular cancer in the balls. Yeah. That wasn't funny at all. Edit. Because some folks asked. Thankfully my friend was able to beat cancer and ended up making a full recovery. D as far as I know. He just wanted to fight cancer. Caught a former buddy sitting across the room from my sleeping GF. Fapping. Well. There's disrespectful and then there's just plain dangerous. Had our brother-in-law over to do some work on the plumbing. He is very handy and a skilled contractor, but his career has been derailed by drinking. 4 DUIs in 3 years. In a hoe. He heads down to the basement and after about an hour he comes up and tells us he is done and heads on out. We paid him before the job. And after he left we went downstairs to check his work. Not only did he not do anything, but he drank 3 bottles of wine we had been saving for our anniversary that were pretty much irreplicable. Did I mention he was 35 years old and my wife's brother? That's bold. I had a guest hit on my girlfriend, break one of my dining room chairs, and throw up on my TV in the same night. He told me it was my fault for letting him drink and that I shouldn't buy such cheap furniture. I don't talk to that guy anymore. Roommate's friend came to visit and left meth dust all over my bathroom counter after tweaking the FCK out one weekend. Moved out the next month. Fkin tweakers. I was a bad guest once. New Year's Eve 2010. Puked in a wicker basket at my friend's nice cottage. Puking in that basket made the mess 10 times worse. Like a colander. Solid work. Brought a bunch of random people over to a party at my house. He didn't know any of them. He just wanted to hook up. Ditched them at the party once he figured out these random girls weren't going to put out for him. These girls proceeded to absolutely destroy my bedroom and bathroom. As well as steal all the shampoo, soap, and toilet paper. One of these high-class broads tea in the bathroom sink. My buddy drank about 10 shots of vodka and washed it down with a bag of gummy worms and a few donuts. He soon passed out sitting up on my couch with his head tilted back. Within 10 minutes he was spewing vomit like a fountain into the air all over himself, so I ran over to him and guided him outside where he coated my patio with puke. At this time I was really squeamish with puke, so I gave him a roll of paper towels to get some of it off my table. He takes the whole roll in hand and uses it as a squeegee to scrape it onto the carpet before he slinks down into the vomit encrusted couch to go back to sleep. We're still best friends. One of my friends from a few years ago was sleeping over. He was lying in the guest bed next to mine and having a casual wank on webcam with some girl. He wasn't even covering up with the blanket. Edit. My kid brother's friend slept over and claimed that he just had the best breakfast he'd ever had in his life. His mom calls the next day asking why her child was complaining that we starved him. WTF. This isn't gross like some of the others, but my flatmate has a guest staying with us and yesterday he came into the living room where I was watching a TV show. Sat down. And then asked me to turn down the TV so he could make a phone call. That pisses me off just reading it. Slightly obese neighbor randomly shows up at front door looking panicked. He asks if he could use the restroom, so of course I said yes. Well, 30 minutes later he finishes up, thanks me and leaves. I check the restroom and it looks like a war zone. Magazines were scattered everywhere. Toilet paper on the ground. And the smell. I'll never forget the smell. Imagine you kill someone, eat their rotting corpse, and then head over to your neighbor's house and take a tea in their toilet. But that's not the FK'd up part. I then proceed to watch him pull out of my driveway, down the street and then into his own driveway, then walk into his own house. WTF was he thinking? I don't think you can get much more disrespectful than that. Imagine how it looked before he cleaned it up. Tried to RP me on my bedroom floor until my mother literally threw him out. I had a friend over for dinner. I just had my garage doors painted. She comes in and says, "Ugh. Did you paint the doors that color on purpose?" So I'm making dinner and she says, "Oh. Meh. I don't feel like that. I'll just run out and get something." And for dessert, she turns her nose up and says, "That doesn't sound very good. You might like it though." So she hasn't been invited for dinner again. Invited a bunch of friends for my birthday when I was 8. Everyone went downstairs to eat the cake except one guy. I went back upstairs to go and fetch him and saw the motherfucker searching in the box where I had all my games. He told me he was just looking if I had any game he could borrow, which was fine by me if he asked. I told him to come down, thinking nothing of it. Sure as hell that night I couldn't find my favorite game. POC registered Simon Silver, still the best one emo. Told my parents. They told his mom, who was spoiling him, and told us that her little angel would never do something like that. It's been almost 12 years and I still despise the little shitty. Karma strikes back because he's now a dumb motherfucker with no education, doing shitty terrible paying jobs. Edit. Ugh. Our little angel would never do such a thing. Every time I read that sentence on Reddit I throw up a little inside my mouth. I hate parents who are like that. It's the perfect recipe for an arsehole child. A few years ago at my birthday party, this guy showed up with 4 of his male friends. None of them brought any alcohol. I should have just not let them in until they came back with some beer, but I was in a good mood and didn't want to be a dick about it. They proceeded to complain that the party was a sausage fest and there wasn't enough booze. It's almost like a group of 5 dudes showed up empty-handed and left after about an hour. But then I discovered the worst part. My friend had bought me a bottle of Delirium Tremens as a birthday present. That's about a $12 bottle of beer, which I was saving for midnight since that was when my birthday technically started. And one member of the douche brigade had opened it, taken a couple sips and left it on the kitchen counter. I would have been less pissed if he at least drank the whole thing so somebody could enjoy it. But instead I had to just pour it out because those guys probably had mouth herpes. During a party in my new house, a guest thought it would be really funny to flush my birth control pills down the toilet. This was discovered because the 2 unopened packs backed up the toilet. His explanation was that he was helping me and my now ex-husband get pregnant. Not my home, but my stepsister knows a GP that visited a patient's home and took some pics of the patient's home and uploaded them to Facebook making fun of them. He ended up getting fired because of it. As soon as I let them in, they ran all over my apartment looking at everything. In closets. In my bedroom. It was horrible. That wasn't a guest. That was the police. Took my liquor and filled my ice trays with it. Wasted my liquor and my beverages were not chilled to my liking. Filled my ice trays with it. I don't. But why? Do they not know why that wouldn't work? I let a friend stay over one night to save from a long commute the next day. He thanked me by repeatedly trying to put his hands in my pants while I was sleeping. I thought I was just having a bad dream, otherwise he would have gotten a punch in the face. Hosted 3 girls from a satellite office of the company I used to work for. They stole the horse show ring my mom got me for my bat mitzvah and one of my roommate's gold earrings that had belonged to her grandmother. Could never prove it and never got the jewelry back. Reminds me of a story my sister, let's call her Nikki, related. Nikki lived with 2 other girls in college. And being kind of well-to-do and Beth being kind of casual with other people's things. The more well-to-do girl found her expensive shampoo conditioner was being used up fast and asked Nikki and Beth if they were borrowing it. Both denied it. Fast forward a few days. Beth comes out of the shower with her hair a completely effed up tangled mess and livid. Anne had moved her shampoo and conditioner to other bottles and replaced the contents of both bottles with a mixture of cheap conditioner, oil, and Vaseline. Beth had applied the mixture to her hair without checking it and, in order to get it out, Had to use bath soap which made a mess of her hair. The one that pisses me off the most is sneaking food from me. Just FCKing ask. If I say yes, go for it. Normally I don't mind and will even offer you some food. But if I say no, it means F-king no. It's infuriating when people aren't even F-king subtle about it. Oh, that awesome expensive chocolate your boss got you? Lol, I opened it and ate half of it. Oh. And I also ate the rest of your cookies and put the empty container back in your cabinet. Lol. But the worst part about it all is when you go over to their house and they won't even let you have so much as a F-king handful of animal crackers. Even though every F-king time they come to your house you let them have some of your food or buy them a bit of fast food. A dude smoked meth, crack, from a light bulb during a house party in college. Right in the kitchen. Honestly man. Just go to the bathroom to do hard drugs like a normal person. Puked in my sink. Was this an all about 14 years ago? If so, I'm sincerely sorry. I drank too much and someone was in the bathroom. It was the sink or your floor. I invited a friend and her husband over to the pool in my apartment complex. There were 2 attractive girls in the pool with us. We're all just drinking beer and having a good time. My friend's husband went inside to use my bathroom. 45 minutes later, we were wondering where he was and decided to go inside. Walked in on him jerking off to Latina mother-daughter PRN on my boyfriend's computer. Yes. We ran a small business in our house and we let a relative live in our house for us sometime as it was closer to college than his place. His girlfriend and him were left alone in the house for a weekend. She searched through the house when he was asleep and happened to find the spare key to our safe. Stole about $3,000 and left him that afternoon. By the time we found her to get the money back there was only $1,000 left because she spent the rest gambling and on drugs. In high school my friend and I were walking home from the bus stop and on the way home we were talking about playing Xbox or whatever. Once we get home he tells me I gotta take a huge dump. I'll be downstairs in a few minutes. Okay cool. I sat downstairs for a solid half an hour when all of a sudden this putrid smell permeated into the basement. And that particular bathroom was upstairs on the other side of the house. He comes downstairs and I'm like, what the FCK Johnny? Was that you? Yo, I haven't tea in a week. I clogged your toilet and I'm not sure how to plunge a toilet. Did you plunge it at all? Yo, I tried. How do you do it? Then he proceeds to demonstrate himself plunging the toilet in this wild arcing motion. At about this time I hear my dad yell from upstairs. Oh Jesus Christ. What the FCK? There's tea on the ceiling. Needless to say Johnny got kicked out of my house pretty quick. Stole my shiny magneting card. My boyfriend's sister stayed with us for 4 weeks when she moved to our state while she was finding a job place. She is gluten-free and vegan and we are not. At all. She constantly criticized our food choices and would completely jam-pack the fridge with her tea that we were not to touch. She also cooked her god-awful stir-fries with my Calphalon pans. I saved forever to buy those, using forks to stir and consequently scratched the non-stick coating off of the 2 largest and most useful skillets, rendering them absolutely useless. I asked her many times to use the wooden spoons or plastic spoons to cook and she just blatantly ignored me. The kicker is a couple months later his friend came to visit. Had loud sex with his roommate every night he was here and decided to cook us a thank you breakfast. So I woke up to the rage-inducing sounds of a fork scraping eggs out of my F-king skillet. My boyfriend owes me a new Calphalon pan set. Had sex with my girlfriend. Invite other people that I didn't really know over without asking me if it was okay. A few years ago, my mom had a friend over for coffee and she brought her kids. I don't fault the friend for this because I don't think her kids were usually this wild. But her youngest daughter cut up the film of our Tarzan VHS tape with the scissors. She also sat on my younger brother's remote control airplane by accident. They don't visit us anymore. My high school graduation party. Had a bunch of friends drinking, having a good time. One friend invites his cousin who claims to be in PRN. Guy's all kinds of douche. My sister gets hammered and goes to sleep in the spare bedroom. I notice the guy went missing. I didn't trust him and thought he might steal from me. I walk into the dark spare bedroom and find a piece of shitty groping my passed out sister. I walked into the kitchen and grabbed a large knife. Walked back into the room as my sister was waking up and freaking out. Put the knife to his throat and told him to get out and not come back. Rest of the party was a blast.